before Norden's records were published. Europeans' understanding of Egypt, or its mysterious pyramids, was only vague information from ancient writings, the Bible, or the imagination of travelers. Thus, Egypt remained a dream they longed to decipher. It seems Norden was not the first to mention the Black Pyramid on the plateau. A little earlier, at the end of the 17th century, specifically from 1674, the Dutch explorer Celis de Bryn began the legendary journey of his life. His expedition, which lasted 20 years across territories in West Asia and northeastern Africa, allowed him to accumulate extensive knowledge about the people and architecture of the places he visited. Upon returning to Europe in 1698, Bryn published a richly illustrated book about his astonishing journey. The book amazed contemporary readers with scenes they had never seen before. What Bryn wrote changed Europeans' perception of new lands, including Egypt, although he was not the first European to set foot in Egypt. Bryn was the first to stay and observe both the people and the landscape there for an extended period. Previous Europeans had merely passed through Egypt en route to the Holy Land without stopping. Unlike what Bryn did, he was the first to sketch the internal structure of the pyramids and provides detailed descriptions of the human statues. Surprisingly, Bryn and Norden, two men of different nationalities, with no connection and no communication between them, shared the same perception of the mysterious plateau. According to Bryn's account, there were not just 3, but 4 main pyramids on this famous mystical plateau. Could it be that both explorers were making a foolish mistake about a pyramid complex that never existed on this planet? How could one accurately count the main pyramids on the plateau? If the 4th pyramid really did exist, where is it now? Meanwhile, the other 3 pyramids still stand majestically under the blazing sunlight. There are many hypotheses suggesting that, over the course of time, the 4th pyramid may have been destroyed by humans around the early 18th century to help build the city of Cairo. Meanwhile, other opinions propose that the ruins of this pyramid might still lie buried somewhere beneath the thick layers of sand in Egypt. Regardless of which hypothesis is correct, if the 4th pyramid truly existed, it would certainly hold many secrets waiting to be revealed. As a result, researchers have tirelessly searched for it over centuries, but have yet to find any valuable clues. One challenge that makes decoding the mystery of the Black Pyramid particularly difficult is the scarcity of documents about it. Information about this mysteriously vanished pyramid exists only in fragments, within some explorers' records and a few other ancient texts. However, the situation began to improve as human, scientific, and technological capabilities advanced dramatically. Technology has become increasingly prevalent since humanity entered the 21st century, allowing scientists to survey lands from thousands of miles away. Machines have replaced humans in reaching research sites that were previously untapped and full of potential. Within just the first decade of the 21st century, scientists used these advanced technologies to explore the mysteries of Egypt. An ancient Egyptian settlement buried underground was discovered, awaiting exploration. These discoveries alone are enough to prove that much of the truth about ancient Egypt remains hidden beneath the desert sands. By the end of 2020, historians and archaeologists launched an excavation project in a desert near Luxor, approximately 300 miles south of Cairo. What they uncovered beneath the layers of sand left them in awe. As the thick sands were brushed away, bricks stacked atop one another gradually revealed walls to the excavation team's astonished eyes. Shortly thereafter, the outline of a large city, with walls separating complete rooms, began to emerge before them. In addition, the team discovered numerous tools used in daily life. This is likely the largest ancient city in Egypt ever found by modern humans. The city was built by one of ancient Egypt's greatest rulers, Amenhotep III, the 9th king of the 18th dynasty, who reigned from 1391 to 1353 BCE. Oversaw the largest administrative and industrial settlement of his era on the west bank of Luxor. This ancient city had three main areas: the royal palace of King Amenhotep III, and the administrative and industrial centers of the settlement. The winding walls were one of the rare architectural features in ancient Egyptian design, primarily used in the late 18th dynasty. A large number of molds for producing amulets and intricate decorative elements were also discovered, providing evidence of widespread production of ornaments for both temples and tombs. For a long time afterward, the Egyptian government referred to this site as the Lost Golden City, due to the vast number of jewelry and finely crafted ceramics unearthed. According to Egyptologists, the discovery of this ancient city gives humanity a clearer insight into the lives of ancient Egyptians during the empire's wealthiest period and sheds light on some of the greatest mysteries in human history. But the story does not end there. Historians expect to uncover even more. Deeper excavations in this area may reveal what truly happened. As time passed, old stories gradually faded, and real events slowly became vague legends passed down through human accounts. In the 19th century, scholars made a remarkable discovery: a story carved into the wall of a temple built long ago. The story recounted a sea voyage by ancient Egyptians to a mysterious land somewhere in the universe. But what could people living in the desert have to do with the sea? The tale was gradually forgotten as scientists dismissed it as historical fiction. Yet it still challenges modern humans to ponder the mysteries of that distant era. Let us turn back to the 5th century BCE, to the writings of the Greek historian, who recorded a mysterious underground labyrinth he had seen during his travels. The complexity and intricacy of the passages from one room to another, from one courtyard to the next, truly present an endless marvel. Each room was separated by a stone wall, and the walls were covered with various motifs. Between the rooms were courtyards paved with exquisitely crafted white marble, surrounded by rows of columns. What Herodotus described at the time went largely unnoticed, as people continued to believe that the existence of a vast, mysterious labyrinth was unrealistic. Perhaps it could only exist in legendary stories. As a result, the information provided by the Greek historian was dismissed by many other scholars. It wasn't until 2008 that a desert survey in Dashur, about 50 miles south of Cairo, using ground-penetrating radar, astonished scientists. The presence of underground structures led researchers to claim that the greatest labyrinth of ancient Egypt had been discovered. Many even suggested that this could be the remains of the legendary Black Pyramid. However, for some reason, these discoveries were prohibited from being publicly released by the Egyptian government. Consequently, the excavation was forced to stop halfway, and the findings gradually faded into obscurity. The question remains: if clues to a grand labyrinth were found, why were they not further investigated? How could an unexplored archaeological site affect a nation's security? Could it be a shocking truth capable of altering human history? To this day, no one has provided a definitive answer. After centuries of archaeological research, one fact is undeniable. Egypt has always been a mystery in the flow of history. The pyramids and other legends of the plateau continue to perplex humanity. Remember what the Danish explorer Norden wrote: "The fourth pyramid was constructed from a type of black stone, harder than ordinary granite. In ancient Egyptian culture, black granite symbolized rebirth. Black represented the Nile and darkness, the underworld, with the sun rising as if being reborn after a long night. This stone was therefore commonly used for coffins and important artifacts in pyramids. So why build an entire large pyramid out of this black stone? And why would the Black Pyramid hold such a unique and irreplaceable significance? Perhaps the ancient Egyptians feared that ordinary pyramids might erode under the sun and harsh weather, so they built a special pyramid using this black stone. And perhaps they hoped that this pyramid could be reborn like the rising sun. Even if it were to disappear in the endless flow of time, it would one day reappear in its original form. The rooms inside the Khafre and Menkaure pyramids are located underground. The Khafre pyramid has only 2 simple rooms with sealed ceilings, while the Menkaure pyramid contains a series of rooms and passages that, although small, are more complex. Some of these rooms feature intricate decorations. The finishing work was carried out sequentially from the top down, as workers moved from the pyramid's edges downward. The construction ramps were gradually dismantled. Aside from the Black Pyramid's tunnels, much of the structure remained intact until the Middle Ages. At that time, stone extraction followed a systematic process, requiring fine white limestone for projects in Cairo. It was observed that moving the stones from the pyramid's outer casing was easier than extracting new raw materials. Fortunately, a small portion of the casing stones on the Khafre pyramid's summit still remains, providing a glimpse of its original appearance. Exploration and mapping of the Giza Plateau began in the 17th century and continue to this day. Even this limited information is enough to astonish people about this extraordinary construction. This raises the question: if the pyramids were built solely for burial purposes, would ancient humans have spent decades, or even centuries, constructing such monumental structures? The answer is likely no. A project requiring such extraordinary effort must have served an even greater purpose. Many scientists suggest that the 3 main pyramids on the Giza Plateau were gigantic power plants, supplying energy to surrounding civilizations. In fact, no mummies have ever been found in these massive structures. Even after centuries of excavation, we commonly know that Edison and Tesla brought electricity into widespread use in the 20th century. Thus, we naturally assume that this marked the first appearance of electricity in human history. However, in Iraq, a ceramic jar with a copper tube and a metal rod was discovered in 1934. When this artifact was combined with a type of liquid acid, A reaction produced electricity. This battery was dated to approximately 2,000 years ago, or perhaps even older. Such advanced knowledge should have been impossible for people of that time, making it seem utterly improbable. Consequently, scientists initially considered it a chance archaeological curiosity. However, similar evidence of ancient electrical devices in Egypt shocked researchers. Perhaps electricity had been used long ago during the era of the pharaohs. The original appearance of the pyramids was not as we see them today. Some hypotheses suggest that at least the 3 giant pyramids on the Giza Plateau were once covered in polished white limestone. The smooth outer casing, combined with the sharply defined edges of the pyramids, would have made them appear like giant mirrors reflecting the sun's brilliant rays. A major earthquake in 1303 caused much of the outer casing to collapse, leaving the pyramids without their original appearance. Therefore, the pyramids we see today are essentially just the inner cores of the original structures. The purpose of the white outer casing of the pyramids has long intrigued researchers. The idea that it served merely as insulation to keep mummies from getting too hot or too cold seems rather unlikely. Upon closer study, the outer layer of the pyramids was made of fine white Tura limestone, containing virtually no metal today. This type of material is often used in the construction of power plants because of its excellent insulating properties, which play a crucial role in preventing electricity from leaking outward. Could the ancient Egyptians' use of this material in pyramid construction have been purely coincidental? Moreover, the massive stones of the pyramids were so precisely fitted that not even a knife blade could pass between them. Could this construction technique have been intended to prevent the loss of electrical energy to the surrounding environment? It seems plausible, especially considering that the inner surfaces of the pyramids were made from another type of limestone called dolomite. This stone contains small amounts of metal crystals and quartz dew, well-known components that optimize the conduction of electricity. Furthermore, the passages and tunnels within the pyramids, commonly thought to facilitate air circulation, were constructed from granite, which possesses slight radioactive properties. Granite actually ionizes the air inside the pyramid, enhancing its electrical conductivity. This feature makes the pyramid resemble an electrical cable. With a conductive core and an insulating outer shell, the pyramid complex was built atop water-bearing limestone layers, with gaps between the stones containing significant amounts of water. When underground water rises to the surface, these water-saturated layers can conduct electricity upward. Specifically, the large flow of the Nile passing through these rock layers could generate what is known as physical current. The tunnels inside the Black Pyramid functioned like granite conductors, charged by these physical currents. This means that, with the materials used and the pyramid's unique architecture, an electromagnetic field formed deep within the pyramid could be conducted upward and transmitted to surrounding areas. It is believed that, in ancient times, a highly conductive device was placed atop the pyramid's apex, where today only an empty space remains. From the top, electricity was wirelessly transmitted to the tall towers built around the pyramid, distributing power to various locations. This theory becomes even more compelling with the discovery of a hidden room inside the pyramid in 1993, a room that had remained concealed for thousands of years. Archaeological evidence suggests that this room was deliberately hidden by ancient architects. It wasn't until 2011 that the room was accessed using a miniature camera. Remarkably, the camera revealed a carefully crafted system of copper wiring. Even more striking, symbols resembling a schematic of an electrical system were present in the room. Consider modern batteries, from those used in large power plants to the small ones in everyday wristwatches. Copper is essential for generating electricity, despite such evidence. Many still argue that the materials used in the pyramids were coincidental. Upon closer examination, an interesting fact emerges. The technology for generating electricity in the pyramids was rediscovered and studied by the genius inventor Nikola Tesla in the early 20th century. Tesla viewed the Earth as one electrode in a giant electrical circuit. The ionosphere, located 80 to 800 kilometers above the Earth, serves as a second electrode. Recent measurements indicate that the potential difference between these two electrodes is about 400,000 volts. If one could control and harness the electrical discharge between these electrodes, it would provide an unlimited source of energy, much like attempting to control lightning during a storm. Based on this principle, Tesla claimed that his invention could supply free, limitless energy to any location on Earth. He believed that by constructing wireless transmission towers, one could simply connect a conductor to the ground and adjust its frequency to resonate with the tower's frequency, thereby receiving electrical power to realize his theory. Tesla did not build a network of communication towers, but instead constructed a wireless transmission tower called Wardenclyffe on Long Island, New York. The tower was reportedly built over water-bearing rock layers. Similar to the foundation of the pyramids, the tower had an octagonal pyramid-like shape with a hemispherical cap on top. Electrical charge from the base would travel upward and accumulate at the top of the hemisphere. Tesla used a high-voltage generator to stimulate the tower's electrical discharge. According to New York residents, on many nights in 1903, the Wardenclyffe Tower emitted enormous artificial lightning bolts stretching tens of kilometers, illuminating the sky so brightly that people on ships in the Atlantic could read newspapers and chessboards by its light dot. As Tesla said, the waves generated by these energy machines would have been among the largest energy wells on the planet. Unfortunately, a massive explosion destroyed nearly all the results of this. Genius scientists researched. In mid-1908, in Tunguska, a remote area in Siberia, Russia, an aerial explosion with an estimated energy equivalent to 10 to 20 million tons of TNT flattened 60 million trees across an area of 2,150 square kilometers. This largest explosion of the 20th century is believed by some to have been caused by Tesla himself. He reportedly generated tremendous energy, transmitted from the Wardenclyffe Tower all the way to Tunguska to test his theory. In 1915, 7 years after the Tunguska event, Tesla claimed that wireless transmission of electricity and the creation of destructive effects across space were indeed possible. I have designed wireless transmission towers. My techniques have advanced to the point that the impact of a massive, destructive force can be directed to any predetermined point on Earth with high precision, he said. Recent discoveries also indicate that in early 1908, A few months before the Tunguska event, Tesla visited the U.S. Library of Congress multiple times to study maps of central Siberia. It is very likely that he calculated and located Tunguska as a remote site where the energy from the Wardenclyffe tower could be transmitted for his experiment. Sadly, Tesla's unfinished projects were permanently confiscated by the U.S. government upon his death. Had Tesla succeeded in his experiments, the transmission of electricity across the planet would have been radically different from what we know today. Since ancient times, pyramids have often been seen merely as large tombs for pharaohs. Yet there is so much evidence that modern humans cannot ignore, raising serious doubts about these assumptions. Why are there no mummies inside the main pyramids? Why are the materials used to construct these monumental wonders precisely those that could conduct electricity? Why do the deep underground tunnels show no trace of soot or fire? These questions compel us to reconsider the true purpose of the pyramids. Though these mysteries have long eluded human investigation, one day the truth will surely be revealed. The secrets of the Giza Plateau are not only contained within the massive pyramids, but also lie beneath the Sphinx. The Sphinx and the pyramids appear to be two parallel images, always present together in public media and historical representations. However, it seems that people often focus more on the pyramids than on the Sphinx. Yet the Great Sphinx of Giza is one of the few surviving ancient architectural works and remains a historical mystery that continues to baffle scholars. This statue still holds the record as the largest monolithic statue on the planet, measuring 73.46 meters in length and 20.12 meters in height, according to rare photographs of the statue released previously. There may be a tunnel leading to secrets that humanity has never explored. However, our understanding of the Sphinx seems to stop there. The Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt reportedly buried and concealed all information about it soon after. Why did they do this? Could it be that the Sphinx truly contains a secret so immense that it would alter humanity's understanding of ancient Egypt? The Great Sphinx was first discovered by humans in 1817, when a team of archaeologists, led by Giovan Battista Caviglia, attempted to excavate its chest to restore the monument. It may seem incredible, but many researchers believe that the original Sphinx was far more magnificent than the version we see today on the Giza Plateau. Over several decades, archaeologist Emmanuel Parisi led excavations of the Sphinx from 1925 to 1936. However, its immense size and mysterious beauty were not the only things that captured the curiosity of researchers. They could not comprehend how ancient people could have built such a grand structure with such limited scientific and technological knowledge. This gave rise to numerous theories about lost civilizations, or even extraterrestrial involvement, or that modern human intelligence is still too limited compared to the brilliance of ancient civilizations. Some scholars, such as Mark Lenner and Graham Hancock, have compared the Sphinx, the Giza pyramids, and the Nile with the constellations Leo, Canis Major, and the Milky Way. Yet the deepest mysteries lie within the Sphinx itself. Many historians believe there are hidden chambers inside, and perhaps even a mythical room containing a key to the underground library of Egypt, which could help decode human civilization and history. Greek historian Herodotus recorded that he had actually entered a mysterious labyrinth on the Giza Plateau. The passages were so complex that it is hard to believe they were the work of humans. Herodotus was one of the first to mention the existence of this secret labyrinth beneath the plateau, describing it as a magnificent construction. If one were to compare Greek constructions and their labor to this labyrinth, they would pale in comparison in terms of effort and cost. Even the pyramids cannot be easily described in words, and each one is equivalent to several monumental Greek constructions combined. Yet this labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids in scale and complexity. According to Herodotus, the labyrinth lies slightly above Lake Moeris and almost directly opposite an area called the City of the Crocodile, based on ancient texts, including those by Herodotus and other early visitors. The labyrinth has long captured human imagination. A 17th-century German scholar named Athanasius Kircher was the first to attempt a reconstruction of this mysterious labyrinth, producing an image that closely resembled Herodotus's account. It contained 12 palaces inside, with opposing gates, 6 facing north and 6 facing south, connected to each other and enclosed by a common outer wall inside. There were 2 types of chambers, one type underground and another type situated above these rooms. There were 3,000 chambers in total, 1,500 of each type. The system of chambers above ground has been personally observed by researchers. Interestingly, Herodotus was not alone in his accounts. Over the centuries, many scholars have shared his curiosity. Greek philosopher Chabot claimed to have visited the labyrinth, which he called the Great Palace of Egypt. Around the same time, historian Diodorus provided similar evidence of a lavish labyrinth. The mysterious tales of these 2 ancient complexes were buried under desert sands for many centuries. It was not until the 4th century that the historian Chirius resumed documenting the underground labyrinth. According to him, the labyrinth's entrance, hidden deep behind the Sphinx, had been blocked by layers of rubble. This door was once operated by priests and was now considered inviolable. Even more astonishingly, according to the Arab historian al-Masudi, these underground chambers contained knowledge capable of enlightening human intellect. Ancient oral traditions speak of Haubrigers, a library buried somewhere in Egypt. Many believe it may lie beneath the Great Sphinx, which proudly watches over the pyramid complex on the Giza Plateau. The Haubrigers library was said to house the knowledge of ancient Egyptians in scrolls and other ancient records. Some even claim it explains the history of the lost continent of Atlantis, including its location. In terms of importance, the Haubrigers Library could rival the Great Library of Alexandria, which preserved Greek knowledge. Although mainstream scholars insist that there is no evidence that Haubrigers truly existed, some researchers, including Robert Job and Thomas Dobb Cleave, it lies beneath the Sphinx. While some think the library was built by ancient Egyptians, others speculate that it may have been created by an even older or more advanced civilization, possibly with extraterrestrial connections. What if Haubrigers were not located beneath the Sphinx? What if a massive library truly exists somewhere in Egypt? Rare photographs of the Sphinx show several passages leading inside. As early as 173, explorer Charles Thomson reported a small opening on the Sphinx's back. Soon after, French archaeologist Vimana, drafted an illustration showing a passage at the Sphinx's head. These passages are believed to lead to corridors connecting to vast underground chambers beneath the Sphinx. These chambers are thought to contain secret libraries holding ancient texts, which, when assembled, could reveal the yet unknown history of humanity. In the book Messages of the Sphinx, authors Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval stated that the Egyptian government cooperated with American archaeologists to block any investigations around or beneath the Sphinx, preventing anyone from discovering the underground chambers or uncovering what lies beneath the monument. The likely reason for this restriction was to prevent valuable documents and artifacts that have yet to be discovered from falling into the wrong hands. Some photographs suggest the presence of passages and corridors leading to unknown chambers beneath the Sphinx. In fact, a massive underground library in Egypt had previously been discovered but was forced to be abandoned by archaeologists and mainstream scholars. This is considered one of the greatest discoveries of ancient Egypt. However, very few people know of its existence. Although this discovery could be regarded as one of the most significant of the century, for some reason, most mainstream scholars and Egyptologists worked to keep it hidden from the public. Could this be the oldest lost library in history? Interestingly, if this archive truly exists, Herodotus and Strabo may have been among the lucky few to visit and record the legendary labyrinth before it vanished forever in the flow of history. If the Sphinx labyrinth were merely fictional, why are there so many references to it in ancient texts? And why do modern humans now seem to deliberately ignore the historical stories about the Sphinx? It appears to be only a surface layer of secrecy for over centuries. Some people have tirelessly searched for the mysteries of the labyrinth beneath the Sphinx. The world-renowned seer Edgar Cayce, through unconscious visions during sleep, accurately predicted many events of the 20th century, such as the Great Depression, the Cold War, and the deaths of U.S. President Sand. He also made predictions regarding ancient Egypt, according to Cayce. The Sphinx is not 4,500 years old, as commonly believed, but dates back as far as 10,000 years. He also asserted that the labyrinth beneath the Sphinx would eventually be explored. But let's pause. Does a labyrinth really exist beneath the Sphinx? In the early 1990s, researchers John Anthony West and Robert Bauval conducted surveys of the terrain around the Sphinx. Their findings were widely publicized in the documentary, The Mystery of the Sphinx. What is particularly striking is that the evidence from these studies indicated the existence of a network of tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx. It seems that the archives, long thought to exist only in legend, may indeed be present on this earth.